Welcome to Quantum Canine. We're here on location in Putney, Vermont. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Trish.
So,
lovely day at the vets.
It's a great day to go to the vets. We're at Dr. Dow's office, and you've brought a dog, Atticus,
Yep.
to be vetted.
Right.
And does he have any problem behaviors?
Yeah, his previous visits to the vet, he had to be muzzled, pinned down, which I don't recommend, but anyhow, that's his history. So I've had one vetting with him successfully, and this will be round 2, a year later. And so what would you like me to tell you about it?
Well, Atticus hasn't been to the vet for a year.
Right, this is his checkup time. And he was very aggressive to people and dogs.
And he is a client's dog,
Right.
and you're bringing him here.
Right.
And are you going to be showing us special things that are
How
just
to handle any dog at the veterinarian.
Any dog.
It's counterintuitive. It's the opposite of what you'd think to do. Usually you think you want to comfort the dog and give it a lot of attention, when that actually makes it the object of attention and stresses it. It makes it feel it's out of control, that something's trying to control it. So the point I want to really emphasize is that there's no capacity for any living being to allow another thing to take over control of its body. It's panic-inducing. So what I'm going to do, it's counterintuitive, is give the dog the feeling that he's in control and he's choosing to have the veterinarian do stuff to him. Now, the less the vet makes any attention, the better, but veterinarians are going to be very affectionate and this and that. So the dog has to learn how to take that too.
So you were talking before about how giving a dog a lot of stimulation and attention actually
fries the circuits,
right.
It makes him feel out of control, and he's got to stabilize things. The only way dogs know how, and some bark, some bite, some collapse into emotional rigor mortis, and they panic. So it's whatever the variation on the theme is, it's irrelevant, but it's all the same phenomenon.
So we're just going to follow you through this visit to the vet with Atticus and record it for posterity. Great.
Step 1 is we want to see if the dog will have his energy at the surface. He's not holding back. Holding back energy is danger. Ready? Oh, nice. See, he's into food. We want food. And it's harder for him to take the bite toy. So we're in the parking lot. Get it. Get it. Oh, we want to get that aggression out of the system before the vet triggers it. Good. Oh, yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Maybe we get a bark. Let me see. Speak. Speak. Oh, speak. Speak. Good, okay, good dog, good dog. All right, so we got the energy up to the surface, so now we can calm it down in the veterinarians. Let's go up there. So it's really good if the dog will take Cookie.
Yeah, nice.
Hey Ben, see if he'll bark. Speak for a Cookie.
Oh, okay. Atticus. Sit. Speak. Speak. Oh, good boy. Good boy.
Yeah, try to get the aggression up to the surface.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
Holding
good.
it back.
Can you sit? Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Can speak. Come on, speak. Woof. Good boy.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
you're good.
You good.
gosh.
What I'm going to do, I want to get a little bit of blood out of the right front
Okay.
for the triple test. It's heartworm, Ehrlichia canis, and Lyme. And then I'll have to get a whole tube of blood out of the left
On the box.
for these titers that he
Down.
wants.
Down.
Okay, oh, wow.
It's really good the dog learn to stay in his place.
Oh,
There's other dogs that come in and out. It's good he learns to stay in his box. That's his place. He feels safe in his place.
oh, okay.
It's assigned seating. Dogs like assigned seating. I'm going to make him really struggle to get up on the box. It's really important to work on a raised surface and make him struggle to get in the box because it's his choice to get up there if he fights to get up there. And also, he gets to express a lot of energy in a situation where he's normally really afraid. Up. Come on. Up. So make it uncomfortable down here. Come on. Up. There you go. Oh, you can do it. Oh, you can do it. Yeah, there you go. Good, good. Now, animal consciousness is made of 2 things, hunger plus balance. Now, the mistake everybody makes is try to keep the dog on the table, where I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to pull him towards the end. So he's working to stay and choose to be on the table. He's going to like to be on the table because it's his choice. He has no concept I'm doing this to him. It's just something that's happening. Now, if he will take food under duress, that's perfect. In fact, that's a miracle. Because that means he likes to be touched. He likes someone near him. And He's perceiving it in a positive way.
Good boy.
Now, if you weren't taking food, if you were really nervous, I put my hand right there, I can protect, and I can still pull like this, so the dog wants to stay there. Now, we're gonna ask him, what would you like to do first, Ben?
I'm gonna get a little blood out of the right front, but I wanna shave it.
Okay,
I don't wanna put a needle through dirty hair.
right.
Let me get my clipper in here.
Does she want a heartworm test done?
Right.
And the titer is done for Lyme and
Okay.
distemper. He's not due for rabies until October, so,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so.
The right front first, I want just a little blood out of the
Oh,
right
this one
front.
here?
Yeah. So you gotta get over, there you go. Good boy, honey. Very good boy. Good boy.
So I want to change the subject from his leg getting shaved. So I'm pulling him toward the edge, I'm holding his collar, so Dr. Dow is safe. And I'm putting enough pressure on pulling him off the table so the dog is more concerned about staying on the table than he is what's happening to his leg, the noise, and another person really is close in his space. Now from his point of view, the dog's point of view, by fighting to stay on the table, he calmed down the situation. He was in control, therefore he has no problem. Now sometimes you'll see the dog does well in the beginning and then toward the end or some other little procedure happens and they have a hard time. That's because they're in a loading mode. And they do really good 2 or 3 times and the 4th procedure is more than they can handle, so you have to pay attention the whole time. Good. Still taking food. That's wonderful. You can use food as a good barometer of how much in control the dog feels. Needless to say, the dog should go to the vet really hungry.
Well, I go through a lot of treats, and people come in and they have a dog we never met before. And the only way to get to an animal's brain is through trust, and a lot of times it's food. Same thing with horses, apples and carrots. And I did a lot of horse work in the West, and that's how we vaccinated and everything else that we did. No chains on the nose, no twitches. Good boy, hon. We're gonna get a little bit of blood.
Now, if he can feel his body, which he doesn't want to do because something's trying to control him, he will be social. So I'm massaging him by the neck. I ideally want him to feel pleasure. They can actually choose to concentrate on one part of their body or the other. So if he'll choose to concentrate on his neck because it feels better than his leg, he'll have a good experience.
Now, if I can hit him.
The dogs have an amazing ability to control pain based on their perception. It's not painful to them if they feel in control. It is painful, anything is
I
painful
don't
if
have
they
the
don't
time.
feel.
There I go. See, he's got a rolling vein, and the vein just roll and roll and roll and roll.
Yeah, that's okay.
Good boy. It's a good boy.
Yeah, it's nice. The dog take food and his perception is completely positive.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and the thing is, one little thing I'll say is a dog has no idea how he's getting out of here alive. He has no idea that he comes in and he goes. So this is forever. So that's why dogs get so afraid that they're going to be treated forever. So when he can feel flow, if he'll take food and he's in control of balance, that's his perception that I'm getting out of here alive. They got to feel movement. And when they sense potential for movement, the food is there, and they're controlling what's happening around them, then they're okay. Then they feel, okay, this is fine. I'm
He's
getting
gonna
out of here
have
alive.
one more from me.
And you can see in this dog's expression that there's a trace of intense fear in his eyes, but his facial expression's open and ingestive and positive. You can see the memory of fear in those eyes. A little bit of knit above the brow, a little bit of concern, but his whole overall visage has gotten very, very open and trusting. So we're on the right path. He'll be like Hercules down the road. He'll just
Yeah.
scratch at the door to come in and see Dr. Ben.
Welcome to Quantum Canine. We're here on location. Now we're back in the studio, and that was just a delight. Dr. Dow is just a great vet, and that was a lot of fun. And what's amazing to me about Atticus is that when he went to the vet without you, obviously, before the clients had met you, he had a really bad experience.
Yeah, he was pinned down. You know, he got sharp. He was very aggressive to people and dogs. And so, of course, he goes into the vets, and everybody pays attention to him. That makes him really freak out. And then they overwhelmed him. They pin him. It's like a SWAT team. And unfortunately, is what's going on in a lot of vet clinics is when they meet with a dog that they see in this way, they call in their SWAT trained vet tech team, and you can take a mild problem even and make it into full-blown aggression. I'm seeing a lot of aggression that was caused by overpowering an animal at the vets. And there's a million things that are going on there. I'd like to highlight a couple of them. The idea of being in control. And I made this point over and over at the clinic, but I really want to come back to it, is there is no evolved capacity in any organism, or human, or any of the simplest animals, to allow another force to take over control of its body. That is panic-inducing.
Right, we fight back.
We fight back.
Right.
So, for example, and we can look at human experience all the time, is you go to the motor vehicle department and you look at that line and you give up control of your body to that line based on the flow. That's why they put the numbers up there now, so you can see your number. That gives you a sense of control. So like an implicit contract, I'll get in this line. And notice how you start to feel as you get in the line and people going through it and somebody starts asking 3 or 4 questions. You start
you get really mad.
You get mad, right. Same, so you get an elevator. You give up your control to that box. Well, they put all the lights there.
Right, so you know where you're going. So you
Well,
can
it
see
gives
your
you the,
progress. Right.
yes, so you always can monitor, and it also gives you the illusion you're in control because you get the lights go on when you hit buttons and it's under your direction. When you think of it, why do we even need any of that gimmickry? Because when is an elevator not taking you to the 11th floor when you pushed 11?
Right.
And if the elevator's out of order, they put a sign there. So why do you even need all those indicators? And the reason is you're giving up control of your body. You get in a plane, you're giving up the control of your body to that fuselage, to that machine, and there's a deal. Okay, you get me to California in 6 hours, good deal.
And when the dog goes to the vet, often they're asked to be given up control of their body. And one of the things that Dr. Dow was saying, he was using the word trust. He's saying in order to get the dog, so they're not having a bad experience, you want them to trust. But you're taking a step further and saying the dog needs to feel like they're in control of their body.
Right, because he has no idea how he's getting out of there alive.
Right.
And remember, for a dog, most people say dogs have no concept of time, which I couldn't agree more, but that means a moment is forever. That means when he's at the vet, it's forever. So I'm not amazed that some dogs bite at the vets. I'm amazed that they all don't bite at the vet.
Right.
So the question is, well, why are they calm at the vet? And the reason is trust, that they can have a level of rapport with the human, be it the vet or be it the owner, that they can feel flow by being around that person. Therefore, that makes them feel safe. So they have no idea how they're getting out alive, but they feel movement. And I like to give the metaphor of movement is if you go to a movie and there's a compelling narrative and it moves along.
Right.
Well, you're just sitting there, you're not doing anything, but you do feel movement.
Right. Oh, and so that's how the dog experiences movement in the vet. It's not actually, his body is not actually moving.
Right. Emotions are moving because he has trust.
With the person, with the vet, or with the person?
Yeah, it could be with the owner, it could be with the vet. Sometimes the owner doesn't have it for the owner, but so the vet will take the dog in the back room, and now he has trust to the vet, and it's much easier.
And you were, Dr. Dow was using food a lot to have that sense of trust and use it as a barometer to how safe the dog was feeling.
Yeah, well, let me...
Not as a reward for being a good dog.
Right. Yeah, it's not actually a reward, and you can't actually reward a dog with food anyhow. We can get into that on learning theories as we go along. But the point I made in the video was animal consciousness isn't out of thin air. It piggybacks on simpler systems. So there's a system for hunger with neural circuitry and physiology in the stomach, right. But it also goes all the way up to the esophagus. Okay. And there's the system balance, neurological and all those receptors and nerve endings and so on and so forth. Those two systems confluence, integrate to form animal consciousness.
What do you mean by consciousness? You mean what the
Well,
animal is experiencing?
Yes, his perception, his apprehension if something's working or not working.
I see.
His memory even is all a basis of these two systems integrating.
And how are we seeing that at the vet, those two systems integrating?
Yeah, if the dog is completely in balance mode, primarily in balance mode, then change equals danger. If he has a lot of hunger going on, so you think of balance as electricity. So when you see an animal that's electric, you right away, whoa, that's scary. There's growling, there's bristling, there's tension. You say right away, whoa, that's electric, charge.
Dangerous.
Danger.
Yeah.
Right, so electric equals danger.
Okay.
Now, if you see an animal supple, relaxed, calm, jaw open, eyes open, it's ingesting, that's the hunger circuitry. That's magnetism. Magnetism is always safe. Electric is always danger. So, if the dog's taking food, that means he's more magnetic than electric. He likes people being around him because he's magnetic. You know, magnets love to clamp together.
Right.
Whereas if you put the positive charge to the positive charge,
Right,
you
they
get
repel
sparks.
each other.
Yeah,
Right.
you get explosion. So what happens is when they're taking in hunger, that grounds the electric of the balance circuitry, if you will, completes the internal circuitry of animal consciousness. Flow of electric makes a magnetic field, and the dog now knows how to align with everything.
So even if you didn't completely understand your theory, one thing you could do when you take your dog to the vet is make sure they're really hungry.
Yes.
And get them to
Now
eat
most
food
dogs
along
won't,
the
right,
way.
and even when they're really, really hungry, the dog that's tense isn't going to take food.
They're not going to take food.
So now what you got to do is what is going on electrically in that dog?
Well, then they must be more in the balance.
They're holding back,
Right.
they're in the balance, which means they're holding back.
Right.
So how do you get a dog to let go energy? Have him fight for something. So let's objectify the problem. It's a control issue. I established earlier that no one can allow control over their own body.
Right.
Okay, so let's make it a control problem the dog can solve. How can the dog get in control of his body? He can fight to restore physical equilibrium. So when you go to the vets, rather than help the dog up and hold him on the table, it's exactly the wrong thing to do. Have him fight to get up on this slippery thing, and he's scrambling, and then he stabilizes it. Yes, he's stressed, but he's learning to stabilize stress. He's now starting to feel in control, and a real big thing happened as well. He moved a lot of energy. He got all that energy that the vet's going to trigger like a volcano. He got it up to the surface, and he was able to express it. And I'm there saying, yeah, good doggy, I'm on your side. I'm on your side.
Right.
So he got in control. He got on the table. He stabilized. Then right away I start pulling him off the table, and that dog wants to fight to stay on the table. Here's another really important principle. You cannot take a fearful dog and convince him that this is a positive
Right, that
experience.
it's not going to be scary.
Here's a cookie.
Right,
Oh, we love
right.
you. That's the absolute worst thing to do because what you're doing is making him the object of attraction. If you ever come up to a shy child and you say, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Oh, I want to give you some.
They back away.
They
makes them more
retreat. They go
afraid.
deeper and deeper because you
Same.
made them the focus point.
Right.
And when you're in balance and you're the focus, that's more energy than you can handle, so you shut down deeper.
And so when I've seen people at the vet that have fearful dogs, and they're like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, that's
it's
the worst
okay.
thing they could do. They should be getting the dog to fight to get up on some slippery surface, and he overcomes it, and he feels good about himself. Now, you'll find a lot of dogs will not take any cookie, but once they fight and they get in control, all of a sudden they're hungry.
Amazing.
And they will
It's
take the
amazing.
food. As a matter of fact, it always happens. You can always get a dog to take food if you do it just right. That's a really, really important point, that you can't make it positive. So they have no concept of this is going to be okay because you're going to get treated and we all love you.
Everybody's nice.
That's a psychology, and
Right.
it's just not available to them. So, but you can make it relatively nicer than the alternative.
Right.
So the table, all of a sudden, he likes being on the table because it sure beat the alternative, which was not hitting the front of the, not getting 4 feet on the ground.
Right.
So I like to give this example to make that point, is I dread going to the dentist. I had horrific experiences as a kid. I don't like going to the dentist. But if I get a little dull throb on a Friday afternoon, I can't wait to get to that dentist. I can't wait to get in that chair.
Right.
Because I know I'm in control of that pain.
Right.
And that brings me to another huge point of the perception of pain is based on the degree of control one feels. If you feel totally in control of what's happening, pain is completely manageable, if not obliterated. The American Indian, actually, the Shawnee, could actually train themselves to receive any kind of torture, and I mean evisceration.
Yes, it was brutal.
Under a 5-day slow smoldering stick fire, being roasted alive, and they would laugh at their torturer. So pain is actually a matter of perception, and by using the balanced hunger circuitry, you can change the dog's perception of what's happening to him. He's in control. He likes. So eventually they come to associate that the vet is how he controls the moment.
Everything.
Yes, having his ear cleaned, having his veins probed and poked, getting shots, having the rectal thermometer. That's how I'm in control. I like that. They can actually like that.
So you just make him fight to get up on the table. And
right.
It was amazing to see Atticus, you know, getting a needle stuck several times.
Exactly.
He didn't even flinch.
Yeah, that's when, you know, all instincts come from the balanced circuitry. And when a dog is, or an animal is in instincts, they're completely in their head. They cannot feel their body, which makes sense because if they're in pain and they feel out of control, they don't want to feel their body. So they get up in their head, and the brain generates instincts. So you can think of it as like this thundercloud, and it just wants to make static electric discharge. That's why people get bit. So by having him fight to get up there, I got rid of that static electric charge. And now he's in his body. And now he's in his body, so I'm massaging his neck. He can feel the pleasure of his neck being massaged, and he can feel the vet down there, and he can choose, I don't choose to feel that down there. That's not so hot. This is really hot. This is great. That feels great. So you can change now I'm making it a positive, pleasurable experience.
It's interesting to make him, when you get him to, so he's in his body and is feeling his body, it actually makes the pain less.
It does.
You're saying because he's concentrating on the pleasure.
Yeah, see, pain, exactly. Pain and control are linked because if it's pain, it's easily manageable. But if someone's controlling the pain, it's stress, overwhelming. Stress is cumulative.
And that's when dogs bite.
Right, and then what happens with stress, the difference between pain and stress is stress triggers physical memory.
So he can remember when he got pinned down at the vet the first time.
Right, so he's actually reliving all that horror. And then he bites, and somehow he's out of that vet clinic, biting worked.
Biting worked, right.
Even if he got clubbed to an inch of his life, biting worked. That's how I'm out of here.
Right, and so just by having him fight to get up on the table, making him feel like he's in control of his body, and using food as a barometer, you made it an incredibly, pleasurable experience for him.
And then what happens is really cool is pretty soon the owners are going with the dog. He's in control. He hops up there. You don't have to go through all that. Eventually, you don't have to go through that. We referenced Hercules in there. He comes down to see Dr. Ben, and he scratches at the door to come in, and Dr. Ben's all lovey-dovey with him. He hops up on the table. They do what they do, and that's that. I used to have to go and chaperone.
Right, you had to manage the whole thing.
Had to manage, but once you get the principles, it's so simple. Now you should really be doing that with the little puppies. So they start to get squirrely. Oh, don't look out! There's the edge. Oh, and then he feels in control. You don't have to get this graphic with a little tiny puppy.
You mean when you take him to the vet?
Yeah, your first experience.
So you would put a puppy up on a table.
Yeah, I would, and then I would
pull gently.
Just gently, and just one of the reasons all the puppies do so well at vets is because when they were young, they put up on the table. So right away you invoked the fear of falling and being in control paradigm based on that. And that's why 99% of the dogs are fine at the vets.
Because people don't tend to use the table. A lot of people do a lot of vets.
A lot of vets think they like to get on the floor and get lovey-dovey. Now, if you have a mushmallow dog, I think the dog gets more panic, but he can relieve it now through his personality.
Right.
And he can get through 10, 20, 30 minutes. But you'd be surprised, even these dogs start to get snarly. I think all dogs should be vetted on a raised, slippery surface. And then they start to trust their owner. That's how my owner is part of me staying on this box. That's great. Right. My owner's, that's where the trust comes from.
I mean, I can testify to the effectiveness of this because you used to take, he used to come with me to the vet, and we always put him up on the table, and now I just go in there and I set up a couple of chairs, and he just, so I don't have to lift him up there. He doesn't have to fight to get up there anymore.
Right.
I don't have to do anything. He just jumps up on the chairs, gets up on the table, and we can do, that vet can do anything to him at all.
Because it's he chose every step of the way.
Right.
Atticus chose to get up on that table.
Right, yeah.
And now it looked like I was making him, but that's in the human mind.
Right.
From the dog's perception, because he was fighting like crazy to get up there, I chose to be up there. And then everything now from then on is predicated on choice. And because it's choice, he's in control. How am I getting out of here alive? I'm taking control. Okay. and that works. And pretty soon he will actively get up there and want to be up there. Bring it on. I love it. I like anything to do with vetting because that's how I am in control.
Because some people could look at, you know, when you were trying to get him up on the table and fighting him, some people could look at that and go, oh my God, that's so, you know, that's freaking me out. You're freaking the dog out.
Yeah, they think I'm making it a negative experience.
But I mean, the difference between, look at how he looked at the end. He was so
Exactly.
calm and happy.
Yes.
He wasn't pinned down, he wasn't forced, and Dr. Dow was more concerned with how Atticus was experiencing his visit than he was with doing the vet procedure.
Actually, that's a very good point. Who cares about getting the shot that day?
That's right, that's what he was saying.
If you had to just go there and have an experience, and all right, we'll do it the next day, we'll do it the next day. You know, make appointments until you get the dog trained properly. And again, you just have to affect it so he's in control. The exact opposite of what you think you should be doing.
Very interesting. And you were saying that when you're looking for a vet, you were saying this when you're at the vet clinic, that it's wise to use someone who's had a lot of large animal experience.
My preference is, you know, it's like when I get on a plane, I like to see a grizzled World War II gray-haired veteran out there.
Not some young kid, right?
Yeah, really, you know, I would like to see some combat pilot up there. So those days are waning, I guess. So same with my vet. I really like to see, I like the large animal vets who cut their teeth with horses and bulls and cows and goats, and because you don't make a social statement to a bull. You want to get in and out. You want it as clean as a whistle.
Right.
You know, you don't want to make a big deal out of it. Whereas the modern small animal vets, when they go to Cornell, they take behaviorism. Their school now you have to achieve dominance, which is exactly the wrong way to go, in my view. So they are unwittingly making problems worse, thinking they're applying, you know, scientific theories of learning and how canines are socially organized, when in fact they're taking the dog out of choice by applying those technically abstract things that really aren't how animals learn, as we will explore as we go deeper into the quantum model.
Yeah, like you were saying, Dr. Dow said he did a lot of work with zoo animals.
Right.
And you know, you don't mess with a lion.
Right. You don't want to make a social statement to a 2,500-pound bull.
Right.
You know, a horse weighs 800 pounds. They weigh a lot. You know, you don't have to be in control. You just want the horse to be amenable, and whatever works is their philosophy.
So maybe we could talk a little bit about, you know, it looked like you were rewarding Atticus for his good behavior up there on the table.
Yeah, I would like to substitute the word grounding. So I was using the food to ground him in his body. So like I said, consciousness is made of hunger and balance. So if he's if he's ingesting, and you know, you don't have to just ingest with food, that's the most primal faculty, but you can also ingest with the eyes. If you saw his eyes, there was fear, but then there was that, and he was wide open, and he was taking it, he was ingesting with his eyes. So when the dog feels in control, then his higher faculties evolve to be part of the primal faculty of ingestive orientation. So he was drinking it all in with his eyes. Another very interesting thing on the tape is that outside in the parking lot where he felt really in control, he barked immediately. Yes. At the vet's clinic, you could see there's a lag there. It took him a while to get the nerve up to bark. And this is why barking is so important, because he was acting straight and direct. He's looking Dr. Dow right in the eye and expressing his deepest energy, which is where all the fear is. I also like to give this example. If you walk into a room, you know, and everybody's just doing the normal stuff, and somebody is holding back, right away you're on alert.
Everybody knows it, right?
It's like, whoa, what's the matter with that one?
When's he going to blow?
What's the matter? Yeah, when's he going to blow?
Right.
So if your dog, barking is a wonderful way to get energy to the surface. The dog is expressing himself directly and actively. He's not holding back. Therefore, you can trust him.
So to take a dog to the vet, make sure he's hungry, get him in the parking lot, have him bark for food.
Yeah, and you
play with him a little
bearing
bit.
in mind, I did a lot of preconditioning with Atticus. It's not going to happen. The New York Giants don't learn to play on game day against the Washington Redskins. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes imprinting that should be happening. The main theme I want to get in, though, is the dog must feel in control. It's the only way he's getting out of their life.
It's the same thing if we felt we were out of control. We'd
and we can think, and we still need to be in control, i.e. elevators, plane rides, motor vehicle department lines.
We can't even talk ourselves out of it.
Can't talk yourself out of it.
Right.
Nope. So anyhow, that was our excellent adventure at the veterinarians.
That was great.
And like I said, I want all young dogs to use that model, and the they will all love being at the vet's.
And you use the famous box, which I use too.
Right.
When we go to the vet and the dog sits
Yeah.
on the
On a raised surface.
on the raised surface.
Yeah, because we want to objectify the problem. We cannot give the dog a psychological, abstract problem. It's insolvable in the canine mind.
So you make it physical.
You must make it physical. So here's the raised surface, and you're either on it or you're off it. So you've actually made it a binary problem to solve. It's only one option. Whereas, if he's on the floor, what I don't like about the free form on the floor is, well, he could be there, he could
Right.
be there, he could, he's got 100.
He could wiggle all over, he could go near the other dog.
Exactly. There's 100 options, so you're actually giving the dog 100 problems to solve.
Right, and he can't solve that many.
He can't solve that many. He can't solve any of them, theoretically speaking. So the dog's got one choice, on that box or off that box. So let's solve one problem at a time. And once he masters that one, he's in control. And then the higher the box, the more graphically you've objectified the problem.
Right, and then he feels safe.
I would say this too, is I also will take, if a dog's really dangerous, and the first lessons, I will make the table wobble. I'll put something under the stand so it'll really magnify the balance problem.
So does that make it so that he has to be in his body even
Yes.
more and more?
Yes, right.
Because it's so wobbly?
Yes, you can't solve the balance issue in your head. You have to go down to your physical center of gravity and compute homeostasis, equilibrium. You can't do it mentally. It's like if I push you over, you can think all you want in your head, you're still going over.
Right.
You must physically express yourself to rectify the moment. And again, that goes back to why I'm doing so much physical expression. I want the dog physically expressing his energy to feel in control.
Well, it was beautiful watching Atticus. And
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It makes your heart happy to see him
Yeah.
relax. And,
Yeah,
and the joy you feel, the rapport you feel from that, it never ceases to amaze me and help me feel gratified by that.
Yeah, it was great. And a lot of thanks to Dr. Dow.
Dr. Dow.
He was wonderful.
Every dog's best friend.
Yes, thank you very much. And join us next time for more Quantum Canine. That was good. The vet thing was good.
Yeah. To send Dr. Dow
Definitely going to get him a
a
copy
link.
of that.
That's good. I love Dr. Dow. He's just a